Hi guys, welcome to the weekly mentoring video for December 14, 2020. As always, it's Monday, and as always, we'll be having a special program. This time, like the last few weeks, I'm kind of into this conspiracy theories stuff, and I'm gonna mention some of these topics today as well. But we'll of course focus on trading mostly, but it's important to know what's going on also on the market and globally. All over the world, we're running into this craziness, and that affects your trading, that affects the way you're going to be trading, especially options, longer term options. All this uncertainty, all these question marks, all these predictions, all of that has influence on market, creates a lot of volatility. Therefore, we need to discuss this stuff. And before we begin, of course, I'm going to bring in the disclaimer. So remember, this is informational education purposes only video, and if you agree with this, check, we can continue. So let's move on, and topics for today are my conspiracies. So when I opened today the news, I looked at what's going on. Actually, it's been going on for a long time. We have a lot of these discussions about vaccines again and again and again and again and again. Since vaccine, what's going on? We have a lot of topics, especially, I'm watching this guy sometimes, when he's being invited to some, news and so on, where he talks about vaccination and rolling out the vaccines and predicts sort of the future. Who the fuck is he? I mean, like, what the hell? So he said that we're not coming back to normal until 2022, and I kind of take it seriously. So he says that doesn't matter if we're running into and having vaccines and so on injected into people. It's very likely that the markets will be basically sideways. That's what the Billy Boy says. But let's move on. I promise that we're going to talk a little bit about stimulus. So a new currency, what the fuck are they doing, right? Well, what the fuck are they doing? They're doing MMT, so-called MMT is a modern monetary theory by which they say they're gonna save the economy, save the world by simply adjusting the currency supply. And basically what it means new currency, printing, and so on. And here's a little scenario for you to just kind of like picture what these guys are doing, what the Fed and all the central banks in the world are really doing, just in a very, very short little presentation. So imagine you have a guy and he produces apples, right? And he has this one apple, and he says, my apples and my hard work here as of today is worth $1. Okay, and me as a consumer, somebody who looks at buying this apple and has this cash, I'm thinking in my mind, okay, apple is worth $1. That's how I picture. Like when I see an apple, I see this, I see $1. Okay, that's how it is. And if you have this kind of perspective on life and value of things, well, then you see simply that dollar is becoming a measurement unit for some sort of wealth. Being this apple, in case of apple, it's just something that you can touch, you can eat, it has value. It's a valuable object, it can nourish your body. And this thing is just a measurement unit to say how valuable this is. And this creates psychological effect on me. Me thinking, okay, $1, I know what it is, I know what it means, I know what this piece of paper means. It means I can get an apple with it. And if years pass by, if this is time, I simply get used to that idea and I get programmed, and I know that, $1 means one apple. That's how much an apple should be worth. And that's how much it's worth. And then I have a special perspective on this bill of $1 because I know simply the value of it. In my mind, I create the value of it. Of course, what it does, it just reflects the value of the actual product, actual wealth. And same with the farmer. Farmer thinks, okay, if I get $1, this is something what the apple is worth. And then, if I sell 100 apples, then I make $100, and by this cash I can do something, But my apple is worth $1, and he's also programmed to understand the value of an apple in terms of this paper measurement unit. So we have all of a sudden we have a common measurement unit, which both of us understand, and we know we can use this, and this kind of functions as money, right? However, what's going on now with this monetary policy is like this. They're creating more measurement units available on the market. They just make a lot of these All of a sudden, we had just a few of those. Now we have plenty of those. However, our mindset is still the same. Apple is worth $1. Even though there is more measurement unit on the market, we still think that Apple is worth $1, you know? But that dollar is now diluted. There is more and more of this. So me thinking that and farmer thinking that is really irrelevant, because those who created and printed basically billions of those, you know, if there was one, now we have, instead of one, we have billions of, you know, in this case, you know, it's just, I presented this as $1 being in circulation. Now, for that apple, for one apple, we have $1 billion in circulation. However, my thinking is Apple is worth $1, and farmers thinking is Apple is worth $1. So those who created those billions, they're laughing now because they just printed it out, and now they can get like billions of apples, you know, just by simply clicking the printing press, you know, whatever, and then making those dollars available to them first. Obviously, they get them first. They kind of cheated me and my way of thinking and his way of thinking that this is worth that, because now we have simply more of that. Okay, I hope it makes sense. So wealth, the true wealth, is actual Apple, actual product that this guy is producing. You know, my work, you know, which I put to get those. But right now, those guys just printed those into existence out of nothing. They steal the wealth, they steal the work of this guy who spends his time on the farm, you know, to produce these apples. They steal my time, and they can do this just with one button click. That's what this stuff means. It's not good, guys, you know. This is just a measurement unit, guys, you know, and you can't print wealth. Okay, that's what I'm thinking here. You can't just print wealth. So this is what's going on right now with the stimulus. So we're creating more digits, more units of measurement, and this is supposed to boost the economy. But what it actually does is it steals wealth from me and you, and you know, present some sort of a beautiful picture and you know, some theater that we're actually recovering from something. This is very annoying. And I thought that I should be presenting this at least once for you guys before we discuss and be so happy about the stimulus causing the markets to go up. So having said that, I'll just move to the news and we'll look at the briefing.com. What's going on the stock market today? Caterpillar reports decelerating decline in November sales. Okay, Caterpillar seems to be in the spotlight, but I think it's more about vaccine these days. So strong consumer discretionary, healthcare and utilities, these markets, these industries are strong. Looks like communication services are weak, in decline. What's moving the market? Broad-based gains to begin the session amid vaccine rollout. So that's what I was talking about. Risk on session. Not sure what that means. Yes, Tyson. This was the pattern that I saw, so probably you see the same thing as me. We look at this closer. Looks like Tyson sitting on 70 level resistance, and it created this little flag in here. So I would expect it to go to another level of resistance, which would be like level 80, probably somewhere there. Okay, so I'm seeing this as a bullish trade, and I would like to gamble a little bit. It's in foods industry, actually quite solid, and the moving averages just changed. So if you can see, we had like a dropping 200 and it flattened out. 50 came back up, okay, above it, and we have very steep movement on the 20-day simple moving average. Okay, one thing here which is not so great is that we're having the MACD probably crossing the signal line, suggesting a little bit of correction, and we are in overbought area here, and we have quite some volatility in there. But you know, markets are crazy, and I see that pattern here. I would expect that at some point of time it will go to these 80s. Maybe now is not the best time, but I want to create this trade to show you how I would trade position like this. I want to have long-term call and then sell one just to you know, at this level of 80, just to reduce the cost of ownership, and maybe be able to sell a couple of those shorter term calls over the period of time of validity of the long call. So it's a poor man's version of you know, lips trade.